Hey everybody, it's Charlie the Cat Music on YouTube, and today I'm going to make a quick video about how to achieve a pretty close Dimebag tone with some gear that's pretty widely available, preferred to the gear that he actually used, which I know a lot of rig chasers try to get that stuff, but it can be hard to come by. So I'm going to show you guys how to get to his tone with some pretty, like I said, widely available gear, stuff that you can pretty easily find just by looking it up on the internet, and you can get it shipped to you in less than a week. So disclaimer, this video is not how to get Dimebag's tone on a budget, because I mean, in total you're going to be spending a good amount of money, and this also, kind of another disclaimer, is you have to know that there's going to be some variation with each person, with each experience. So if you do all this and you really use this video as the Bible to follow, trying to get this tone, and something's not right, don't come to me and start blaming me and typing stuff down in the comments right off the rip. Troubleshoot a little bit, because everything's going to be different. There's going to be a lot of varying factors in a few things. So I'm gonna go through and address those things as well to try to eliminate any confusion. But yeah, so I mean, let's get started. The first thing we're gonna talk about is the amp. Dimebag used the Randall RG 100 ES, which is still available here and there on Reverb and on some other online sites, but it's a pretty rare amp to find. It was an 80s, 90s amp, so I mean, they're not still in production. They're not the easiest to find, but if you can get your hands on one of those, then that's awesome. That's the best way to go. If not, Randall makes a more modern day series called the RG series. Some of the other Dimebag amps that are a little bit rare, but if you can get your hands on them, it helps, is the Warhead X2, the Crankenstein, stuff like that. Any of the actual amps that Dimebag used. But like I said, if you're just trying to find something that's more widely available and you're not trying to spend more money, because that's the thing, if you get something that's rare that he actually did use, like the Centurion or the 100 ES, you're going to wind up paying quite a bit more money. So I think these are available for, I want to say the head is like a few $100. I don't think it's anything too bad, and I think the cabinet was maybe like 400. So I mean, total, I think you're going to wind up spending $1,000 or under on the amp setup, but that's specifically mine, and that was specifically at the time that I bought this. I don't know, things might have changed since then, but anyway, let's walk through it. So like I said, Randall is currently producing a series called the RG series, and they have a few different versions. They have 50 watt, they have a 50 watt head and a 100 watt head, I think an 150, a 200, and I don't know if they have a 250, but I'm pretty sure they do have a 300 watt head, because I believe I have seen one and actually playing through one before. And yeah, I mean, it's really all preference, but I wouldn't say get anything less than 100. Don't buy the 50 watt at that point. You might as well just not want to play like Dimebag, because bottom line, he's loud and it's not fun to play. This is Pantera or Damage Plan stuff, quiet, or even his own personal music. But so yeah, you're gonna want to get your hands on the RG series. They have matching cabs. I think this is just called the Randall RG 4x12, but it's got this metal cage on the front. Two 4 ohm. I don't know if they're 4 ohm or 8 ohm, but two 4 ohm speaker inputs in the back, basically for you to connect, to a head. When you connect your 4x12 to your head. I'm not sure exactly what, but I'll leave some links to this actual stuff in the description, so you can check it out for yourself. And on those websites, they'll have more details about the amp itself. But yeah, so you're gonna want to get your hands on the Randall RG series, or one of the rare Dimebag amps. Anyway, let's get into the amp, because I've been talking for long enough. So you got a few features in the front. You've got your channel 1, which is your clean channel, your channel 2, which is your gain channel, and your channel 3, which is your gain 2 channel. We're not going to be using channel 3 for this, because channel 3 is a much more modern metal tone, and honestly it doesn't sound good, and you're not able to achieve Dimebag's tone with channel 3 as well as you are with channel 2. So we're just gonna, I'll dial in those 2 knobs for it, but I ain't gonna do much more with it than that. Then you got your equalization, and that's gonna be pretty much your bass, middle, and treble. You have a bass boost button and a mid scoop button, which we'll get to those as well. And then you have a presence knob. Your presence is kind of like, I would call it the muffle knob, because if it's down here, you're gonna have a really muffled, like, I don't know, like intro to a song kind of tone, where it's like you can't really hear the guitar clearly. It's almost just muffled, and it'll actually probably make it seem a little bit quieter than it actually is. And then if you had it all the way up here, you'd have a really sharp, open guitar tone, not being muffled or blocked out by anything. But there's this nice sweet spot right between here and here, where you can really kind of dial in between the different tones that Dimebag had through the years. Here, over here being more Cowboys from Hell, in the middle maybe some Far Beyond Driven, Great Southern Trendkill stuff, and then over here would definitely be like Reinventing the Steel and Damage Plan sounds. But like I said, we'll get to that as well. And you're gonna have a reverb knob. This, it kind of depends. If I'm ever playing a live show, I have it on, but usually when I'm just kind of at the house with this amp, I just leave it down, because I do want to just get a reverb pedal, really a delay pedal for my live setting for Dime, because I know that he didn't really have a delay pedal in front of him, but I'm sure there was definitely effects that were like that used in his live setting. Somebody was probably doing it backstage. And then we got a master knob. You got your headphone slot, and then you have stereo media input. Basically means you can plug your phone in and play music. But all right, let's start down here at channel 1. So you got your gain and your volume. Now, I used to have it where the gain and the volume knob were both pointed up at 5. What I found the problem with this is, specifically with my guitar pickups that I have, and that's another thing we'll get to, is that it's too much gain. And if I try to play some of the Pantera clean riffs on the bridge pickup, which is where Dime played them, there's too much push, there's too much gain, and it sounds a little muddy and muffled when I have my chorus pedal on. So what I do is I just dial the gain back to about, we'll call that 4, and to compensate for the loss of gain, I put the volume up to like 6, just to clean the tone up a little bit. And then I don't put the bright knob in, I keep it out, because I already have some pretty bright pickups, some hot pickups, and putting this on is just gonna add more of that gain. Sorry, I was like pointing up there. I'm looking up at my guitar on the wall right now. But yeah, so that's what you're gonna wanna do for the clean channel. And then we're gonna move over to the gain channel, and for this you're going to want to turn your gain all the way up, and the volume's going to go right to the top left of the X, just like that. And then you're going to do the same thing with channel 3. Like I said, we're not really going to use channel 3, but I'll do it anyway. So those are what those two will look like, exactly the same. Then we head over to the EQ. Now here's the thing, I want to set this straight for once and for all. Yes, Dimebag's tone is scooped. No, he doesn't press the mid scoop button, put the mids all the way down, put the bass all the way up, and press the bass boost button. That's too much. There's a ground zero where they can kind of meet in peace somewhere in the middle and still cooperate well together. Because the problem with having a scoop tone is you're not going to cut through the mix. The lower end of the drums and your bass guitar, it's just going to drown you right out. So you still want to be able to cut through. In order to do that, you want bass. I would probably say right about there. Right up as far as you can get into the right corner of that X. The bass boost knob on. And then you're going to want to point your middles over at your bass knob, like it's looking at it. And your mid scoop knob on. Now that's going to be good for the amp setting. It might seem like that's a lot of bass and not a lot of mids, but when you balance it out with every other bit of EQ you have, it's going to be somewhere around there. Like I said, that could vary depending on the guitar pickups you have and you know, a lot of other things, but for the most part, you're going to want to be there. And then your treble is going to be right about up in the middle of that top right corner of the X. So pretty kind of equal to your bass. And then, like I said, your presence, it's going to be somewhere up in here, kind of up in your sweet spot. I'm going to keep it over here more for the Cowboys from Hell vulgar display of power tone. And then, like I said, we're just going to leave the reverb knob down, and then the master will go up when we're ready to plug in. Next thing we're going to move to is the pedals. There's a few pedals that Dimebag used, a few important ones. Now, for tone purposes, not necessarily gimmick purposes, because if I said, oh, well, this is how you play, you know, Becoming by Pantera, then obviously you would want a whammy pedal, but we're not going to need that. And if you were going to play, you know, the solo for fucking Hostile, you would want a wah pedal, but we don't really need those to achieve his overall rhythm tone or his overall tone. You're going to need these three pedals. This guy, or something like this. This is a noise reduction pedal. This is specifically the ISP Decimator 2, and this is a noise reduction pedal, and the reason you're going to want this is because this rig, this thing that we got going on, sorry my pedal board is so gross and dusty, we're going to have a lot of gain, and it's going to be really, really overdriven and distorted, so much to the point that it's going to sound like demons are trying to escape your amp, and they are, and that's fine, but we need to kind of shut them up and keep them quiet, and that's what a noise reduction pedal is for. So you're going to want to get your hands on one of those. Like I said, you know, the Boss noise suppressor works, but honestly I think if you really want to go for accuracy, I would use the ISP Decimator 2, because it's really strong and it's very precise and very powerful, and you can really keep the fullness of your tone, not lose anything of your tone and of your gain, but still cut out that annoying noise. And then the next thing we're going to move on to is a 6-band EQ. Now, whether you can find the old blue ones without a power button, you know, the ones that Dimebag used, or whether you got to buy the ones they still make. They still make this pedal, by the way, too. It's not like this is rare. This is very easy to come by. But MXR does make a 6-band EQ pedal. It's nice and pretty. And this is where things might get a little bit different, but honestly, I think if anything's going to get different, it's going to be on the amp. I think for the most part, if you're going to copy anything down to the bone, it really should be what I have here for the 6-band EQ. And I'll try to get close and still so that you can pause the screen and kind of really see what those are reading as. I'll turn those off so you can see it again. But basically, you're basically doing the opposite of what your amp is. So your amp is kind of like that, you know, it's kind of like a scoop. Your mids are scooped, here's your bass, those are a little bit high, and your treble are up here, and those are high, and your mids are low. This is going to kind of reverse that. You're going to put your bass lower and your treble a little bit lower and boost your mids. And when you mix the two of these together, it really is cool how it works, and how the amp and the EQ pedal kind of respond to each other. But that's how you dial in that Dimebag tone, where you have that really low bassy tone, but you're still able to cut through by having enough mids. So for specifics, I would say your 100 knob, you're going to want the top of it to just be right up at the middle line. And your 200 is going to want you're going to want the bottom of that to be at the middle line. And then your 400 knob looks like the bottom of that's going to be at the fourth line up from the bottom. And then for your 800, you're going to want the top of that to be at the very top line. And then for your 16K, you're going to want the bottom of that to be at the fourth line up from the bottom. And then for your 3.2K knob, you're going to want the top of that to be at the fourth line up from the bottom. So, sounds kind of complicated. There's definitely a better way I could have just said that, but that's basically what you're going to be dealing with. Kind of that arc shape, but not very even. It's almost as if the right end is a little bit higher and the left end is lower. That's kind of what you're going for. And the reason for that is because that 3.2K, that's what's important, because if it goes below that middle line or on that middle line, you're going to lose a lot of your clarity. Your higher end that kind of cuts through from that low end that Dimebag has. If this is too low, you're not going to be able to do that. And I actually heard that because mine was much lower, and my scale was all kind of like a whole step lower than everything that I have now. And when I saw the video that helped me set this up, just as I put this knob alone up past that middle line, I heard a really big difference, and it helped a lot. So yeah, that's what you're gonna want to do for that. And then the next one, this is really more for just the purpose of sounding like Dime. Again, this is kind of a gimmick pedal, so if you really don't want to worry about this, then I guess you can just skip forward to the next part, or you can just kind of listen. But he used a MXR doubler / flanger, and those are pretty hard to come by. And if you can come by them and you're a rookie guitar player or a rookie guitar gear nerd, then you're gonna find out that they're a little bit more complicated to use because they're a rack effect, whereas this is a actual stomp box, so they're a little bit easier to use. But the micro flanger or the MXR flanger, either one will work, and basically what that's gonna help you do is kind of get that wet tone that he would use. Especially, I know he used the flanger a lot on Reinventing the Steel, but he used it just in a lot of different parts of songs, really. And it's a vital part of Dimebag's tone, so getting a flanger pedal. And then besides that, you're going to want a distortion or an overdrive pedal at some point as a boost pedal for the tone, or for your leads, whatever you decide to use it for. But I'm not going to talk about it because this one I have sucks. The only thing you need to know about your boost pedal when you get to that point is level all the way up, gain all the way down, or barely up, because you're not trying to add more gain, you're just trying to add level. Again, you're just trying to boost your signal and boost your level. Any kind of chorus pedal would be nice, especially for riffs like This Love and you know, the clean riffs and floods, stuff like that. This is really the pedal you're going to want to go for, some kind of chorus pedal. This is the Digitech Multi-Chorus, and it's really nice. A tuner, I mean, that every guitar player should have a tuner. And like I said, if you really want to go to try to sound more like Dime and get some of his novelty pedals, a whammy pedal and a wah pedal. He has his own signature wah, and I highly recommend it. I'm actually looking into getting that pretty soon, but any wah pedal will do, and then, like I said, a whammy pedal. And then the next part is to move on to the guitar. And in reality, you're going to want a guitar that has a dimebucker. Dean makes guitars that have those in, especially the Dimebag tribute guitars or signature guitars. You're going to want the dimebucker in the bridge and the Seymour Duncan 59 in the neck. Both pickups are made by Seymour Duncan. These are just Ibanez Quantum pickups. They're just stock Ibanez pickups, and they work because they're high output, but they definitely lack a little bit in tone, where in a situation that I would have the dimebucker, it would sound much, much better. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I think we'll plug it in and we'll give it a listen and see how this sounds. I'm going to try to get it to a good position where you can hear it the best, because it's, you know, you have to really be in the right spot. So I'm going to try my best to hopefully that works. Hopefully that sounds good. I'll move it a few times. I'll do a few different positions, but we're going to plug in and try to sound like Dimebag. All right, here we go. And we're going to turn the master up. So we'll start with some clean tones. Let's move over to some rhythm tones. Let's just kind of see what it sounds like. over to drop D and see if we can get some of those vulgar display of power tones. Switch over and do some Far Beyond Driven real quick. Let's switch over and we'll do some leads. I think we'll do some stuff from the song Floods. Let me just get this into C sharp standard using my whammy pedal. It's another reason it's nice to have the whammy pedals. You can tune with it. Alright. To drag the waters quick too. Back to clean tone real quick and let's do some floods. Switch and we'll do some leads. We'll add some reverb to our tone. Messed it up. Let's try again. said, I don't really know until after I'm done recording how that sounded down there, but hopefully it sounded good, because that's usually where you get the best sound, is down near these two speakers. So hopefully that sounded pretty good. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if there's any questions, just leave some comments down below. Like I said, everybody's going to have a different experience in a different situation, but with the gear that I have, this is the best way I've been able to achieve the tone. Yeah, I should have learned some damage plan riffs. That's my only critique, is that I should have played some damage plan. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for tuning in, guys.